I was deep down in an open-cut mine in the outback of South Australia. As an industrial chaplain, one of the machine operators had asked to speak to me. So I drove with care down deep into the mine and found the bulldozer operator working on his huge machine. As I neared him, he stopped. He stepped down from his lofty position as operator and he brought with him a package which he was obviously handling very, very carefully. After the customary Australian greetings, "How you going, mate?" he said, "I've got something that I want to show you." He put the package on the ground and oh so carefully unwrapped it. Clearly it was a fossilised fish. He said, "I found this over 100 metres below ground level. How did it get there?" He went on to say that something drew his attention to this unusual shape of coal, so much so that he stopped his machine and stepped down and picked it up. He could barely believe his eyes when he saw what it was. This fellow was a very keen part-time fisherman and he knew his fish. Personally, I know very little about fish. In fact, I don't eat seafood, but I noticed in his eyes that he was truly amazed and touched by his discovery. He did tell me the variety, but I don't remember, but he did say that it was a saltwater fish. And yet here we were, hundreds of kilometres from any ocean and deep below the Earth's surface. As we talked about this phenomenon, I raised the subject of Noah's flood, which is spoken about in the Bible, as recorded in the Old Testament book of Genesis in chapters 6 to 9. Truly, there is no other explanation. Genesis talks about a time in history, perhaps not unlike our own time, when people had become so self-focused and life had become quite perverted. In my Bible, the translators have put a title at the beginning of this passage and called it "A World Gone Wrong." Sound familiar? Maybe one day, when history is written, there will be a little title or a title over our generation which also says, "A World Gone Wrong." Genesis says that God saw that the world had become corrupt and was filled with violence. The world had gone mad. They had forgotten about God, their creator, and were only interested in what mattered to them. But God noticed that Noah and his faithfulness was real despite the evils of society around about him. So he spoke to Noah and told him of his plans to destroy every living creature through a worldwide flood. God told Noah to build a boat, which we know as the Ark, so that he and his family could escape the upcoming catastrophe and the wrath of God. In other words, because of his faithfulness and the faithfulness of his family, God made a way through for Noah, a way of escaping the upcoming judgment. It didn't happen overnight. Noah took many years of preparing the ark, building, and the whole time he was ridiculed by people around him. Archaeology confirms that this is truth. And I trust that as we further review this historic event, that we are encouraged, like Noah, to maintain faithfulness in a mixed up generation. In the meantime, remember that we are called by God and blessed by him so that we too can be a blessing. Have a wonderful week.